If our planet could go to the doctor for a checkup, what would its diagnosis actually be? Well, based on all the latest science, the results are in. So we're going to break it down. We're going to look at the planet's most alarming symptoms, figure out the root cause of the whole illness, and then, most importantly, explore the prescription for recovery. Let's dive in. Okay, let's start with one of the most glaring symptoms of this planetary fever, the massive, massive changes happening up at the North Pole. Seriously, the Arctic is sending out a distress signal, and believe me, it is getting louder every single year. 60%. I just want you to sit with that number for a second. That's not a sale at a store, right? It represents a huge planetary scale loss that's happened, well, shockingly fast. So let's put it into context. That's 60%? Yeah, that's how much of the Arctic's ice volume we've lost in just the last 4 decades. We're not talking about a slow decline over centuries here. This is a rapid disappearance happening within a single human lifetime. And it's not just shrinking across the surface. The ice that's left is getting thinner and way more fragile every year. So, the big question is, why is all this happening so incredibly fast? Well, the answer is in a concept that might sound a little tricky, but it's absolutely crucial for understanding our climate crisis. We're not dealing with a simple, straight-line problem. We're dealing with an exponential one. So think of it this way. A linear rise is steady, it's predictable, kind of like climbing a staircase one step at a time. But an exponential rise, oh, that's like an avalanche. It starts small, but then it picks up speed and power, growing faster and faster and faster as it goes. It compounds on itself. And that is exactly what's happening to our planet. The warming of our atmosphere and the rise in our sea levels, they're not just happening in that steady, predictable way. No, they are on an exponential curve. They are accelerating. Now, when we talk about all this melting ice and rising seas, there's actually a really common point of confusion that we need to clear up right now. It turns out not all melting ice is created equal, especially when it comes to its impact on our oceans. So let's just ask the question directly. Does every single chunk of melting ice on this planet make the oceans rise? And the answer, which might surprise you, is actually no. And the reason why is super important. Okay, so the big difference here is between sea ice and land ice. Sea ice, the stuff floating in the Arctic Ocean, is already in the water. It's like an ice cube in a full glass of water. When that ice cube melts, the glass doesn't overflow, right? But land ice, those gigantic ice sheets covering Greenland and Antarctica, that's a whole different story. When it melts, it's like pouring a giant pitcher of new water into the glass, causing the level to rise a lot. Okay, so getting that difference helps us really understand the prognosis. The planet is running a slow fever, and because of all the pollution we've already pumped into the atmosphere, a certain amount of future warming is, well, it's already locked in. It's going to happen no matter what we do next. This is what scientists call the delayed effect. The CO2 we release doesn't just warm the planet for a day and then vanish. It can hang out in the atmosphere for hundreds of years, just continuing to trap heat. And that means our past actions have already committed us to a warmer future. And look, this isn't some far-off theory. It's happening right now. The world's already temporarily passed that critical 1.5 degrees Celsius warming thresholds for the first time back in 2023. We are living in the early stages of this fever. And because of that delayed effect, the full consequences, they're still on their way. It is the current generations that will suffer the most for our inactions. This is the takeaway right here. Because the problem is compounding, the consequences of not doing anything don't just fall on some distant future society. Nope, they're going to be felt most acutely by us right now. Okay, so we've got the diagnosis, we've got the prognosis. The situation is definitely serious. But, and this is important, it's not hopeless. The science also gives us a clear prescription, a path forward for how to heal the planet. The treatment plan is pretty straightforward. It boils down to 2 huge things. First, we have to stop poisoning the patient. We have to drastically reduce and then eventually completely eliminate our use of fossil fuels. Second, we need to boost the planet's immune system by rapidly accelerating the switch to clean, renewable energy. So what does that healthier future actually look like? Well, it's powered by the sun and the wind, technologies that are already here and, by the way, are getting cheaper and better every single day. And it also means looking toward the future, to potential game changers like nuclear fusion that could one day eliminate our carbon emissions for good. So here we are. We're at a critical moment. The planet's vital signs are crystal clear. The scientific diagnosis is in, and the prescription for recovery has been written. The only question left is a simple one, but a profound one. Will we choose to act on it? What happens next is entirely up to us.